March 31st, 1929. Lawrenceville in Lawrence County, Illinois. History was turned back a few pages this week with the finding of the skeleton of an Indian on the farm of William Zellner, about 3 miles east of Pinkstaff, Illinois. The skeleton, probably of an Indian chieftain, was found buried under about 14 inches of earth in a wheat field. The skull is almost perfect, with the exception of part of the base being crumbled away by age. An Indian, when buried, had a perfect set of teeth, which have all remained in place in the jawbone through all these years and years since the body was buried. Practically all the bones of the skeleton were removed from the shallow grave. The arms, the legs, the backbone were dug out, and several bones believed to be the ribs of the skeleton. They were taken to the office of Dr. A.R. Lindsay in Pinkstaff, where hundreds of people have viewed the skeleton. It was by accident that the skeleton was located without a long search. Numerous relics believed to have been implements used by the Indians have been found in the Zellner Farm, and the finding of these relics from time to time has created the belief that the farm was formerly an Indian village. There are several mounds on the farm, and curio seekers have dug into the mounds without finding anything other than heads of flint, arrows, and other articles used by Indians. Maurice Zellner, son of the owner of the farm, and J.F. Lindsay, a Pinkstaff merchant, in order to gratify their curiosity, first of that week went to the farm with spades, determined to make a search for a skeleton, an Indian, if one could be found. Spot in which to begin digging a declivity in the earth covered the growing wheat. Sticking their spade into the ground about 14 inches, they encountered some hard object. They began digging and soon brought up the skull of a skeleton. They could hardly believe their eyes. The skull was perfect, with a row of ivory teeth gleaming at them. Not a tooth was missing, and there was no sign of decay. They kept digging, and in less than an hour had unearthed practically the entire skeleton. The skeleton was placed in a box and taken into Pinkstaff, Illinois, where it was turned over to Dr. Lindsay for exhibit. According to a statement of Dr. Lindsay, there is no doubt but the skeleton is that of an Indian. The bones of the skull and the body are of deep red tint, unlike those of white man. That seems like an interesting statement to me, but that's what it says. The cheekbones are high, and the forehead, instead of raising straight above, the eyes slope backwards. The mouth was large, and the jaws so hinged that both lower and upper teeth met in a straight line. The skeleton was buried face down. There was nothing to indicate that the box of any description had been used in burying the body. The unusual custom of the Indian in wrapping the bodies of their dead in blankets and skins and burying them face down was carried out in the case of the Indian whose skeleton was found this week. It is believed Mr. Lindsay stated that morning that he and Mr. Zellner planned more extensive searching for skeletons and evidence of an Indian village on Mr. Zellner's father's farm when a wheat crop now growing is harvested. Mr. Lindsay declared that particularly all the digging that has been done has been in the center of the mounds, and that he and Mr. Zellner propose to dig near the edge of the mounds, believing that their efforts will be rewarded with some interesting discoveries.